So it's fall here in Canada. It's that time of year when everything feels cozy and you just want to sit under a blanket and watch a movie. So why not stuff your face with a pumpkin scone? I'm going to show you how to make pumpkin scones with maple glaze. So start by preheating your oven to 400 degrees. So for this recipe, you'll need the following ingredients: brown sugar, heavy cream, flour, pumpkin puree, baking powder, cinnamon, pumpkin seeds, maple syrup, nutmeg, vanilla, salt, ground ginger, cloves, and butter. My little tip, before you get started, put your butter in the freezer. So start with 2 cups of flour. And 1/2 cup of brown sugar. Gives the scones kind of a treacle consistency. It's delicious. It's really important not to pack your sugar because it could change your recipe. The reason I add a little bit more sugar in these scones is because the pumpkin can be quite bland, and I think it needs that sweetness. And 1½ teaspoons of baking powder. And 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. And 1/4 teaspoon of ginger. Thank goodness I only need 1/4 teaspoon. Oh, it's perfect. Isn't this the cutest? It's a little bottle of nutmegs, and inside, it's a little fairy grater. It's so cute. Darling little thing. So 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. Let's see. This is more like a fairy little, I don't think a lot's happening. It's very small. I think I'm going to move to the big guns. And I don't really measure it, I kind of look in the bowl, and when it looks like 1/4 teaspoon, I stop grating. And 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And I think the most important ingredient in a pumpkin scone is cloves. I like to put in 1/4 teaspoon. So whisk all the ingredients together. Just want to get all the little pieces of sugar and flour nice and fluffy. Put some air in there. You can use a sifter too if you like, but I like a whisk. Oh, it smells so good. If your brown sugar ever gets really hard, like mine was, just put a piece of bread in it, and in 2 days, it'll be nice and soft. And then set this aside. In a separate bowl, we'll do the wet ingredients. So add 1/2 cup of pure pumpkin. So make sure it's just the plain one, nothing added. Now add 1/4 cup of heavy cream, and you really want to use the full fat cream for this because it gives the scones a beautiful rich texture. And 1 egg. And 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Just mix these ingredients together. Oh, I just love the color. So now take your butter out of the freezer. So I've had this butter in the freezer for about 1/2 hour. And now for the most important tip, you want to grate your butter. Look, I mean, you'd never believe that was butter. And then I like to take my little scraper, very delicately, and just put the butter in there.
What's good about grating it is that it's already in these little pieces.
You don't want it smaller than that because when it hits the oven, it just explodes. So now add the 2 together. So once you get everything slightly mixed together, you want to stop before you overmix it because you don't want tough scones. Put it out onto a lightly floured surface. It should feel very sticky right now, which is what you want. So now, just sprinkle a little flour on the top. And don't worry about what it looks like right now. You don't want to overmix this. So you just want to press the scones. I think the thing about scones is you don't want to make them too thin. I like to do about a 7-inch scone So I'm going to measure it. I'm looking for 7 inches. Perfect. Once you get it into a really nice circle, you're going to cut it into 8. So I like to start by cutting it down the middle, and then I cut each half into another half. And then each of those, I cut those again. And the final one. And then you just take these and you place them on the tray. Just spacing them out a little bit as you go. Place these in the freezer for 15 minutes.
So once they come out of the freezer, I like to top each one with some heavy cream.
And then I like to top each of them with a few pumpkin seeds. You can do as many as you like. I like to do a lot. They add such a nice crunch when they're in the oven. So I like to bake my scones on 2 trays, and the reason I do that is because sometimes the oven's too hot and it burns the bottom of the scones. So put these scones in the oven at 400 degrees for 15 to 20 minutes. Place them on the top rack. When filming the famous party scene in the movie Breakfast at Tiffany's, the director ordered real cases of champagne and let the bubbles flow among the actors. So they were really drunk. So once they come out of the oven, I like to place them on a cooling rack. They smell so good. Those pumpkin seeds, they toast up so nicely. So these pumpkin scones are perfect the way they are. But if you want them to be amazing, you gotta make a glaze.
You need about a half a cup of icing sugar.
That looks like about a half cup. And of course, what would fall be without maple syrup? So 2 tablespoons. Now taking my favorite little fairy whisk, just gonna mix it together. And a splash of milk. So if you find when you get to this point that it feels too thick, just add a little bit more milk. It's perfect. Let's get a tray under there, shall we? And now drizzle them with that amazing maple glaze we made. Delicious. I'm just gonna use the little whisk. Just gonna drizzle it on. You can put as much as you like. It smells so good in here. I think I'm ready for cozy sweaters now. Blankets, movies, and fireplaces. These look so amazing. It's time to take a bite. I mean, you're supposed to wait for the glaze to cool down, but... Wow. It's so delicious. It's like pumpkin pie in a scone. If you haven't tried a pumpkin scone, you have to try these. They're amazing. These scones are perfect on a fall day. Have a great day, everyone. Bye. Oh my God. They're still squeaking. And make sure that you put your iron rack at the top of the rack. What's a half of a quarter? Why don't you say whisk it? I think I sniffed it. Almost like you didn't put it in. The nutmeg. Oh. I love scones. In fact, if my day could be full of scones, what's half? Hello. During the fall, I kind of like to hibernate. Couple pieces. They're still squeaking. You coming in? No, you're staying there. Okay, I sound like Snow White. and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I like to stuff my face with everything. Whoops. Will treacle like a pumpkin patch.